Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Kelly is an excused absence, I believe. Commissioner Oakes.
Here.
Commissioner Ertley.
Here.
Commissioner Schreiber.
Here.
Commissioner Sloan Buchanan.
Here. Thank you, Carrie. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item we have is public and employee comments. Do we have any, Carrie, that you know?
I just got an email. Fire Chief Chad Schmidt would like to speak.
Commission, I just wanted to express a couple things regarding some previous meetings, the RFP and our settlement. First, I would like to take some time to apologize to Commissioner Ertley and the position that I put her in last week without very much notice. I understand that that was maybe uncomfortable for her, and that was never our intent. I was directed by my board to contact her regarding the RFP because we didn't want to just send back another no. We wanted to negotiate, we wanted to have a conversation, and they specifically asked me to reach out to her because they felt like she was willing to listen and willing to have those conversations. And so our commission decided to have me do that. I should have probably reached out to Chief Cermak and let him know I was going to do that, but it was kind of a spur of the moment thing where we wanted to make sure that happened, and in hopes that we would be able to talk about it rather than just get a proposal that was going to be a definite no. There are quite a few things in the RFP that, in our opinion, were not agreeable. The 20% M&O for 3 employees at $115,000, when you stretch that out over the 125 employees that you guys have, it's $4.7 million. And I don't think anyone would agree that you spend $4.7 million on M&O. Your admin budget is $1.7 million. So charging us for some other one-time costs, I think there was just a lot of things in there we wanted to negotiate. So that was our hope. I did appreciate watching the video, the idea of a true-up. I know we've talked about that in the past. I know you guys do it for the training center, so I keep having a hard time understanding why we wouldn't do it for EMS contracts, although they're not probably getting the same attention. The settlement, I know that was just talked about by Commissioner Johnson, so I thought I would have the intestinal fortitude to come here and talk to you face-to-face rather than do it when there's empty rooms. I find your comments that you make about District 21 cowardly. I think they're misguided at best, and I don't appreciate hearing disparaging remarks about myself and about our fire district at any point in these meetings. They don't do anything for our relationship, and to be frank with you, I'm at my breaking point, and as a citizen of North County, I find it extremely disrespectful the way that you speak about union members, about employees, and about neighboring fire districts. The settlement, our attorney is working on it. We got it 12 days ago. He's been involved in a major case, and so he hasn't been able to respond right away to it. I get that the firehouse lawyer probably has a lot of time on his hands and can respond right away. Our last meeting, we specifically asked, our last settlement meeting, the biggest hang up right now is we specifically asked for some agreements between us and the fire authority not to cancel the closest unit if it's one of our units. It was a direct discussion we had. I've checked with Chief Eastman on this to make sure I wasn't like out of my mind, and he agrees with me. 20 minutes after that meeting, we weren't following those same guidelines. So until that gets resolved, there is no settlement because the numbers can be manipulated based on call responses. And so it's our hope to continue to have discussion on that. And we agree with the numbers. We don't have a problem with the numbers. We don't have a problem with everything that we talked about in those meetings. The actual settlement that we received is not, there's a lot that we didn't talk about that's in that settlement. Some of those big things would be the provision that allows for no coverage or changes based on the RFA's discretion. That's just not, I mean, I don't think anybody would agree to that type of language in a contract. We watched it happen in Arlington where we used to have a dedicated paramedic unit. We no longer do. We had no say in that. And that was under contract. So for us, that language is unacceptable. And there's also some wording in there about legislative policy changing that would just need to be specified. So there's a lot that goes into it that, you know, it's not just as simple as numbers were sent over to us. We look at them and say, yep, that's what we agreed upon. There's a lot of language in there that honestly doesn't need to be in there. It was mysterious to us. It was never discussed. And so we can't agree to it until our attorney goes over it, we go over it, and we probably have to have more discussions if that's something that's important enough for you guys to have in there. But I just wanted to come and address those couple things. I know they've come up a couple times. I know that you think we're dragging our feet. That's not the case. I think it would be very short-sighted of you if you don't have a check in a month to take us to court. I think anyone that was involved in those settlement meetings would probably advise you of that because we agreed to a lot of things in there that I think an arbitrator and a judge would probably say we didn't have to. But we are trying to work with you guys. We are trying to have a relationship here. And so watching what we say in these meetings is probably really important.
Chad?
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Would it be beneficial if we were to get together with our original
I
committee?
totally think
and
so,
just
for sure.
at some time fairly soon?
Yep.
So can we get something going on that? And we'll
Absolutely.
Just get it done as soon as possible.
I know Commissioner Nordstrom can make himself available.
Okay, we'll see what we can come up
Okay,
with for
awesome.
dates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we leave, that wouldn't need Chief Eastman. He's done his part of the numbers that you say you're agreeable. Am I correct?
Yes.
So you're saying we would not need Bob Eastman?
My opinion, that's why I wanted to.
I think having the third party
Yeah.
that isn't tied to any side on this to kind of talk between
If he's
them,
willing
I
to
think
do it,
it's-
I think it would be
I think
beneficial.
it was an important piece of it. I mean, I'll just be honest with you, I'm bullheaded sometimes.
No.
Some of us may be bullheaded, but I mean, I think it's something that it's a good piece to have in there that we can kind of bounce things off of, and he says, you're crazy or you're right, so I would
Okay.
appreciate having him in there again.
Well, we'll see if we can organize that. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay. Let's see. Next we have the local 3438 report. Is there anyone that would like to do that? Okay.
Good afternoon, commissioners, members of the public, administration, union members. Most of you folks know, but I'll say it again for the record. My name is Kirk Normand, local 3438 political action chair, a 24-year firefighter for the city of Arlington and North County, and a captain at the busiest station in our response area. At North County Fire and EMS, our EMS division is responsible for responding to 85% of the calls, but has to date remained effectively leaderless since May 1st. That's 5 months. The medics and EMTs who provide life-saving services to this community have had no one to coordinate their training, provide skills management, or direct any part of this division that is so critical to public health and safety. As reported today in the Everett Herald, morale at this agency is the lowest we've seen. Our members have asked for help repeatedly, yet the administration has been ineffective in implementing any sort of solution. On September 25th, with no resolution in sight to this problem, your union members took a significant risk to bring this issue to you, our elected Board of Commissioners. We stood before you, opposing our own chief, which is not something anyone wants to do publicly and certainly not what we want to do with this administration, to bring awareness to this inexcusable failure to provide leadership to our EMS providers. We demanded immediate action to protect the health and safety of our citizens. That leadership directly translates to skill in the field with our paramedics. We desperately needed an EMS chief then, and a month later, here we are in the same position. After September 25th, in the following meeting, we were accused of misinformation, misrepresentation, and false or inaccurate testimony. We reached out for help, and in response, we were essentially called liars. In the days following, no one from this commission attempted to do a follow-up or verify any of our statements. So imagine our surprise then, that while calling us misinformed publicly, it seems you actually acted on these statements and compelled the chief to solve this problem, approving immediate funds for an additional position. Administration approached the union for help, and we understand the urgency of this situation. We brought it to you. We offered the administration a collaborative solution that would implement a battalion chief of EMS and 2 administrative captains immediately. This would fill the empty roles with quality, high-performing individuals from within this agency, the agency that has a depth of roster that is fantastic, with high-quality, high-performing people that can and will serve this community with compassion and skill. These positions will support this agency's health, safety, and the training that we so desperately need. To date, the administration remains stuck, mired in excuses and bureaucracy. This union has gone above and beyond shoring up the agency's shortcomings, trying to provide the best service we can to the public. Every member of Local 3438, your uniformed firefighters, swore an oath to protect our citizens, and so did all of you. It's high time to stop with the bureaucracy and the excuses. There's a viable solution on the table that is effective, that can be implemented right now. Please do the right thing and staff our EMS leadership immediately. As always, thank you for your time, and I am available for any questions.
Does anyone have any questions right now?
I don't have a question. I just want to thank you for speaking. And 2 meetings ago, the 2 firefighters and Dr. Corsa came to speak, and we appreciated them sharing too.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that statement, but I'll tell you, it rings hollow when we're called liars by the elected officials that we represent. This union provides all of the service to this community, boots on the ground. You trust us with the lives of your citizens. You trust us with the property of the owners of these properties in this response area. And it is highly offensive that our integrity would be called into question due to back channel political motivations. So we are here making this request abundantly clear that the resolution to this problem is possible, and we are not responsible for holding it up. We are doing everything we can to drive toward effective leadership in our EMS division. Any further questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Have a great day.
All right. Before calling for approval of the agenda, there's an additional topic for executive session pursuant to RCW 42.30.1101I to discuss with legal counsel litigation or legal risks of proposed action or current practice. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Amend the agenda to include an executive session under the allowable RCW.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Holly, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries, and we will move into, oh wait, let's see. Yeah, that was it, the approval as amended. So, we'll go into executive session, sorry, a lot going on. Now,
Right now?
do we want to say the time? Okay, we're going to need about 15 minutes. And let's see, it's 16, so that's 4:35. Okay, I will now call the meeting back to order. And regarding the executive session, direction has been given. The next item on the agenda is, I would ask for a motion for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. The next item is unfinished business, and we have nothing scheduled. And the next item is new business. The first item is the September financial report presented by Randy Crum, Finance Director.
Thank you, Commissioners. Randy Crum, Finance Director. And we're getting everything loaded up here on the big screen for you as well. Oh, we're timed out. Hold on. Slight delay. Input. No, just hit the input button. And then go down to HDMI 2. Perfect.
How do you like the new TV?
Thanks.
Oh, it's huge.
It's perfect.
It's nice. Alrighty, you should have received in your packet the financial report for September. Yeah, if we go to the next page, you see cash investments. One more, Teresa. Thank you. At the end of September, we had a total of $9.3 million in all cash and investments in all funds. On the next page, you'll just see the graphic representation, how we peaked probably in May with our property tax. Now we've been eating away at that, and we should see this on the next month or two's reports, how it jumps back up with our October, November collections of property taxes. So just represents our cyclical nature of the year as we collect those. The next page, you'll see your general fund budget summary. Being September, we're 3/4 of the way through the year, so we're looking for 75% as our target. You can see we're a little behind on property taxes, but as I said, that's going to catch up quickly. Everything else is doing quite well. So overall, we're at 63% of all revenues collected and 69% of our total resources available. If we drop down below, you'll see a couple departments might be right around that 75% target or slightly above. But overall, all departments were at 70%, so that's a good mark. We're below that 75% threshold, so everything's looking good there. The next page has our transport revenues. If you recall, earlier in the year, we were lagging behind on our GMT. Last couple months, we've done quite well, and so now we've caught up. Our target was 1.9, and at this point, we're forecasted to finish the year, if that continues, at about 2.1 million, or about 247,000 over target. And we're still, as I mentioned earlier, still looking for that true-ups payment as well. So that could even put us a little farther ahead. On the bottom side, you'll see just regular transports. We've been doing pretty well in that all year. Our target is 2.5 million, and it looks like we'll end up closer to 2.8. So combined, if both of these trends continue, we should be about $500,000 over target or budget. So that bodes well going into next year and what we talked about earlier at the budget retreat. Next, we'll move on to the wages and overtime. That top graph represents total wages, and we're still trending under budget, so that's a good sign. We could possibly end up as much as 900,000 under budget on all wages. If we drop down to overtime, as predicted, we did catch up over the summer months with all the mob, vacation, some people on leaves. So now we're trending to finish just right below what was budgeted or targeted. So maybe about 15 grand under. So that looks like we projected very well for that.
Randy,
Yeah.
I got a quick question.
Uh-huh.
So in referencing the MOBs, the reimbursements for those, where does that fall into?
That's like 2 pages back on the general fund budget summary. on the total fees and charges, that falls into that category.
Okay.
And that's probably one of the reasons we're at 83%, because we have received some MOB payments and we'll get more.
Okay.
They can be anywhere from a month to 6 months after the actual deployment. So earlier this year, we got some from 2024 or 2023 rather. So it just
Okay.
depending on the agency and how they process determines
you.
the time frame. It's on my list of things to try to analyze, perhaps try to look at all our cost of deploying as far as all the backfill, overtime, tools, fuel to get down there and back, and compare that to what we're reimbursed and just see how we're doing, if we're ahead or below. So that is on my list of one of the things I would like to analyze further.
Okay.
So that's a great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if we go to the combined wage and overtime report, you'll see it looks like the trend should continue and we'll finish under budget there. So that's a good thing. Helps our beginning fund balance for next year. And then there's two more charts. I don't think I have that one on me. So next page, there were some reports. I think some of you read that in the press recently about a $1.3 million surplus. That's kind of a misnomer. We really don't ever have a surplus. We always have ending fund balance every year. Sometimes it's a little larger than other years, but that's what we use to get to our 25%. So there's never a surplus. If you look at what we budgeted this last year, I don't know if you can see it up there. We budgeted to start the year with about $4 million beginning balance, and we budgeted about almost $21 million in revenues. So that gives us $24 million, almost $25 million in resources. We budgeted $23.5 million for expenses, and that's where we would end the year at $1.3 million last year. So we negatively balanced because using beginning balance. We are in the hole. If you look at just your revenues and just your expenses, we budgeted to be in the hole $2.6 million. Because we were fortunate and we underspent and we got more revenues than we anticipated, we really took in $456,000 more than we budgeted. So, but there's never a surplus. We're never sitting around trying to figure out what to do with money. You saw the capital fund. There's never enough money to fund it all. So I just wanted to clarify the terms used as far as extra money, slush money, that type of thing. It's all part of our funding next year's operations. So there's never a surplus. And then there's one more screen. Oh, I think there were some comments made about the fire suppression budget versus EMS budget. And just using this year's budget, for fire suppression, we had $9 million in just their regular operating, and then they had $20,000 in some general fund stuff. So they had a little over $9 million. Then if you add what we had budgeted for them in the capital reserve as well, there was $9.2 million this year budgeted for fire suppression. If you look at EMS, they had also almost the identical amount for operating expense. They had $200,000 in capital in the general fund for 9.2, then almost another $500,000 in the capital reserve. So they have a total of 9.7. So in actuality, our EMS budget's almost $500,000 more than our fire suppression. So I just wanted to put the numbers out there, and I'll let you look at those. So I think that is all I had for the financial report. Were there any questions?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay,
Thank you, Randy.
sure.
The next item on the agenda is amending the training center fee schedule.
So I'll
Randy.
start off with that. Randy will finish, but each time as we grow the what they call the CAC, the Consortium Administrative Advisory Committee, is the chiefs, the 6 chiefs that are sort of, I guess, owners or the people that sign on to it. They have to come back and equate all this to their boards also. So they ask that we take a different approach to looking at what the cost of the training center is and break it down in a depreciation model rather than a per day model of what it cost us for the training center. So we went back, and the adjustment under this methodology is that it reduced the cost by several $100s per day. and we're asking that we amend our fee schedule for the consortium training group for that amount. So I'll let Randy go with the remainder.
Yeah, just to further expound on that. We initially, when we did the fee structure for the training center, we established a rate per recruit for the academy, which really was a little bit outside of our lane. The CAB or the consortium is really who sets the rate per recruit. And we kind of overstepped our bounds. What we really should have done from the beginning was set a per day usage charge, because that's what we're in charge of, is what's it cost to run it per day, to have all the equipment and facilities and instructors. And so we're just correcting this fee structure to reflect really what we can control. We can't control what the consortium charges recruits, so it shouldn't really have been in our fee structure that way. So we're just amending it to correct and charge appropriately for what we are in charge of. So just asking for that.
I think you said this, just to make sure I understood correctly, we're going down approximately $200?
I believe
Yeah,
It
in
was
the
3,000.
in the Scott Goodell model, it was over something over a little over 3,000, I think. And now we've done this other model that the consortium wanted us to use. It actually went down like 200 or 300, I think.
so. And as this, we've been working with the consortium chiefs, and they've already given us direction, obviously from an auditor's standpoint and system. We have to get approval to change our fee schedule with you, but they're happy with this process, and they just had to go back to their boards with something other than divide out what our bond cost is. They needed to see a depreciation model to understand how we're coming to that.
So we would like to seek a motion to approve the amended fee schedule.
I'll make a motion that we approve the amended fee schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
I think this is a resolution, I'm probably gonna need some clarifying language.
Oh,
Oh,
Wanna
approving
read-
the resolution number? Oh,
Oh,
One-
I'm sorry,
one-
he didn't read the, okay.
oh, I didn't read it.
well,
You have it in front of you?
I'll correct my,
Yeah.
I'll correct my motion. I make a motion to North County Regional Fire Authority's Resolution 1022-2024-01 to amend the training center fee schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that motion does carry. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie.
Okay, the next item is a waiver authorization.
Yeah,
Randy.
thank you. It's my day.
Yeah,
Just stay up here all day.
yeah.
We were recently, had a submission to the North County, for a citizen who lives in our community, who's a non-resident asylum seeker, has no visa, green card, or anything, so he has no funds, so he's not able to work, and so he's not able to pay his transport bill. So he's seeking a financial hardship and a waiver of $1,145.80. He does live with someone, and they've submitted all their financial records, and they don't have the resources either. So it'd be my recommendation that we approve this waiver.
Okay. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move to approve the waiver request as presented. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll finally sit down.
And the next item is the chief's report.
Thank you, Commissioners. As you've heard, I attended the Consortium Advisory Chiefs Committee section where I presented the new cost modeling for the consortium, spent time with Randy to develop that, and as discussed, thank you for supporting that. I attended a statewide meeting on the shortage of EMS IV solutions. Baxter Pharmaceuticals, if you're not aware, is located in Asheville, North Carolina, and it's presented an issue across the nation, and has the facility's been shut down since Hurricane Helene, and
the supply is about 40 to, or they supply 40 to 50% of the nation's IV solutions. So the entire healthcare industry sort of put themselves on a conservation mode of IV solutions. Dr. Corsa put a message out. I confirmed it on my video message that will follow his direction on trying to conserve IV solutions, and it appears the state has a plan with DOH to address the issue as we move forward, but they could be, I think it would be very optimistic to think they would be back up and running with the supply chain within 6 to 8 weeks, and would be likely closer to 10 to 12 weeks. So that issue will be monitored. We met several times with the attorneys over negotiations and the current issue presented this evening. A great deal of work was conducted in preparation for negotiations, and additionally, labor management have been working hard to come to resolution over several MOUs to address the absence of the MSA and additional administrative position that you all approved. We met with Nicholson Insurance for our annual renewal meeting. The national insurance industry has experienced a larger than normal increase in auto and property liability insurance premiums, and NCRFA should, and we budgeted for a 10% increase. We had concern again in the past when we were with McIlvaney and Associates. We would usually have this information right now for better budgeting, so we've expressed our request that this get done a little bit earlier and in the years to come, but their recommendation was that our policy would go up approximately 10%. With that, Allison, Autumn, and I met with Northwest Incident Support regarding a current complaint and outcome, and I think that's behind us, and with that, that's all of my report.
Thank you. The board's now going to be going into executive session pursuant to RCW 42.30.1101H to review the performance of an employee. 15 minutes, so that would be 5:45. 5:25.
Yeah.
we'll call the meeting back to order. No action was taken, but direction was given. The next item on the agenda is board discussion. Do we have any commissioner comments?
I just have a comment or a question. Just for the EMS position, where are we at with that? And the timeline for that, for filling that.
So we've presented two MOUs, as I recall, one for the additional position of admin captain and one for a temporary BC of EMS. And we forwarded those for response to the local.
And I understand they're talking about it at the 24th meeting, I think is the next meeting. And then on the other side, I've been given direction to pull information together and start doing another study, another look at the market. So that's underway. I'm gathering information. Yeah.
Okay, so there is a plan in place
Yep.
to get help at that level.
Yeah, so that's the interim plan. The MOU is for a temporary admin chief, temporary EMS BC, sorry, my brain is tired right now. And then that would go, we proposed it to go through the 31st of March with a couple months extension if needed. So that's been our latest proposal, and I think there's interest on the part of the union to have it become the position, full-time position. And then the admin captains, in addition to the additional admin captain, the other is the other proposal was to take the community resource paramedic, that is a firefighter paramedic level, but works on day shift. So that's the current job that Matt Hickman holds, and make that into a captain as well. So the MOU actually would result in two captains, but but one of them is a reclassification of an existing position. The other one would be that new position that you'd previously given us the nod to proceed with in negotiations. So.
Net one new position and then one promotion for reclassification.
So for a timeline, the MOU's been presented.
It's been given to the
and
local.
it's going to be communicated at their meeting,
That's my
which
understanding
is
is on the 24th.
the 24th,
Is that Thursday? No. Yeah.
Thursday. Okay.
So how soon does that mean that we'll be filling the position?
Well, so again, just separating the MOU positions versus the MSA leader position. So I don't want to mischaracterize, so I think that we're still having conversations about the MOU, but our latest discussions, I think will be discussed at the, I can't speak for them, but that's my understanding is that they will be having those conversations on the 24th. I don't want to say it's like, oh, we've reached everything is completely ironed out and now we're just waiting for, so again, there's more discussions potentially there on the regular, so once those are signed, I think we could move forward very quickly. We have provisions in there for, I want to say it was a 7-day posting period to find those that are wanting to express interest in doing it. I mean, as simple as an email saying, hey, here, I'd like to do this and here's why and so forth. That could be done in a very short turnaround.
7-day posting period for our members.
For our members to do the temporary EMS battalion chief assignment. There's a separate process when it's the permanent positions for the admin captain MOU. So there's two separate MOUs.
Okay.
And I think that one is a separate process. I want to say it was 2 weeks, but I can't remember for sure. And then the non-rep, the MSA leader position that replaces the assistant chief who retired, that one is the one where we aren't posting it yet. We had timed it to be end of the year or in January, probably January, to post that, and that's meaning that you would then have received maybe, hopefully, the first meeting in January, an approval of any changes that we wanted to make to the pay system. That's necessary for me to then go back and repost it at whatever it is that position is and is paid and so forth. So that one, the permanent quote unquote position for the MSA leader, think about that in January. In the meantime, I'm gonna start coming to you with updates and information on the work that we're doing there.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah, thank you.
And that one, you had asked the question earlier, Commissioner Sloan Buchanan. That one would probably do a month or 2 to 3 at a minimum weeks of posting that job, possibly even just open until filled, and then we can kind of have we'll look at everyone who applied by X date. So that could be a month and a half for that one to be filled easily once it's posted. So full-time positions take longer, especially at the higher level, the executive level. So.
Okay. Any other comments from commissioners? Okay, the next item is the good of the order. Do we have anything to share? No? Okay, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we are adjourned.